Hi guys, how are you doing? I am coming to you from a very, very hot, sunny UK today. We're in the middle of a heat wave at the moment. It's actually 30 degrees, so it's come as it was 30 degrees registered at Heathrow earlier anyway, so I know it's the hottest day of the year so far, and it has been a scorcher, right? And so with that, we get the usual round every single year of idiots not looking after their dogs properly, and I know that you guys know all this stuff, but I'm just going to go through it anyway. Okay. So I'm just going to call up my notes. Right. So hot weather can pose significant risks to dogs, and it's crucial to be aware of these to keep our dogs safe. Okay. I'm reading this to you. Okay. So heat stroke. Dogs can develop heat stroke very, very quickly in hot weather, especially if they're active. So they're running around, they're playing games, they're doing, jumping and doing all sorts of things. If they're left in a vehicle, if they can't access shade or water, right? So signs of heat stroke include excessive panting, drooling, reddened gums, vomiting, diarrhea, uncoordinated movement, and collapse. Right. So I'll go through that, what you do with heat stroke in a little while, right? But for now, just that's just one of the things that they can have. Dehydration. So just like humans, dogs can get dehydrated in hot conditions. Just because they don't sweat as much as we do doesn't mean that they don't use that water. They pant, and obviously moisture comes out through their breath. Ensuring they have access to cool fresh water and shady spots can help to prevent dehydration. Right. Burnt paws. So surfaces like paths, like asphalt, like metal especially, can get so hot in the sun and can burn the dog's paw pads. Welcome early in the morning or later in the evening when it's shady, when the paths are cool. Now, if you want to know if the paths are cool down enough to be suitable for putting for your dog's paws to be on, then what you can do is if you take your flat hand, hold it on the path, right? And if you can keep it there for more than 5 seconds, then you're probably good to go. Then if you can't even hold your hand on there for 5 seconds, imagine what it's like for your poor dog going for a walk, right? So you see so many pictures and vets like sending posts and things like that every year of dogs with big blisters on their paws. Imagine that agony they must go through trying to get through the walk, right? Because some idiot decides to take them out. Don't do it, right? They can go in the morning, they can go in the evening. If for any reason your dog needs to go for a wee and you can't avoid going on the path, right, there's a couple of things you could do. You can have puppy pads in the house. You can make sure they go for the toilet before it gets that hot. Or the other thing is try and go to grassy areas. So areas that have long grass, the ground underneath that grass is a lot cooler, up to 15 to 6, I think it was 15 to 20 degrees cooler than on the path. Okay, so if you really have to, just try and, if your dog's small enough, pick them up and put them on the grass, yeah, and try and keep a patch of grass long enough for them to actually go to the toilet on. All right, but if you can, just avoid them going out altogether if it's too hot. So sunburn, dogs who are white like colours or have short fur, they can get sunburn just like any other animal. You can get sunscreen for them. So a lot of them don't like sprays and stuff like that. And a lot of human sunscreens are no good for animals, but you can buy wipes and things that you can put over your dog. Do use those. You don't really want them getting sunburn. It's not fair on them. It's not nice. It's not pleasant. You can cover things like the ears, the nose, and around the lips if you need to. Anywhere that's got no hair on it, especially like I say, dogs that have very short coats, or even the bald, like the Chinese crested dogs, etc. Make sure that you put some sun cream on those because sunburn is not nice for anyone. Overheating in cars. So I'm going to talk to you a little bit more about that in a minute, but the temperature inside a car can soar to dangerous levels within minutes, even with a window open. It is not enough just to leave the window open and still have them in the car. It's not right. Okay. Never leave them unattended in a car in warm weather, even if you have to just nip in the bank, or you're just popping to the cash point, or if you are just running in the newsagent to get a drink for the journey. Please, please, please do not leave your dog alone in the car. It can be very, very dangerous in minutes. Just don't do it. If you can't have the dog with you at all times, don't take them. All right. Breathing difficulties for breeds like brachycephalic dogs, like pugs and bulldogs. They can't breathe very well as it is, especially when the weather is so hot. If we can't breathe very well because we're too hot, imagine what it's like when your nostrils are closed. Yeah. don't put them through it if you can. Try and keep them in cool rooms, keep them in the shade, give them plenty of water, you know, have fans and things going if you have air conditioning. I think it's only 5% of the UK actually has air conditioning, but if you have it, put it on. Okay, do what you can to keep these dogs cool, because the hot weather can be very dangerous for them. Okay, so I was going to speak to you quickly about the inside of a car. Right, if the outside temperature is 20 degrees, okay, the inside of a car can go up by 10 to 15 degrees Celsius in the first 10 minutes. So after 10 minutes, 20 degrees outside, and if you're in sunshine, that can go up to 35 degrees inside the car, okay? Within 30 minutes, it might even be up to 40 degrees. If, like today, the temperatures are above 25, right, the car heats up a lot more quickly, right? And also within 10 minutes, it can be up to 40 degrees inside the car just in 10 minutes. Okay. After 30 minutes, it can be anything up to 50 degrees or more. All right. So can you imagine sitting in a car of 50 degrees, not knowing if you're going to be able to get out, not knowing if someone's coming back for you? You can't breathe, you can't do anything, you're so hot, you're not even sweating because you're a dog, you're just laying there and panting and gasping for breath, and there is no air because it's so hot, you're laying in an oven, right? Dogs die in minutes in cars. Please, please, please do not leave them in the car, right? It is lethal. It's not good. If you do see a dog that is struggling in the car, ring the police, tell them exactly what you're going to do and why, record it if you have to, smash the window and get the poor thing out of there, all right? It's an emergency. If you're outside a supermarket, then if somebody can run in and get the owner, then that's always good, right? But please, 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 it is an emergency. Do get that dog out of the car, whatever you do, all right? So heat stroke in dogs doesn't actually occur at a specific temperature, but it develops from a combination of temperature, humidity, and the individual dog's health and conditions. But the exposure to heat, when their body temperature starts to rise to dangerous levels and they can't cool down, that's when they're going to get heat stroke, right? So being outside in the hot weather, being in a car in the hot weather, not being able to cool down, that they might not succumb to it as quickly if they're young and fit and agile and healthy, but there's still a very good chance they can, all right? So normally dogs' temperature ranges between 38 and 39 degrees Celsius. So if you imagine it's 40, 50 degrees inside a car, right? You can imagine how quickly heat stroke is going to set in. That's not good. It can be fatal, right? Their organs start to shut down the hotter they get, and it's fatal. So to prevent heat stroke, always provide plenty of hot water and shade. Avoid exercising dogs when it's hot during the day. Try first thing in the morning, late in the evening, or not at all. Be very cautious, like I say, with brachycephalic dogs like bulldogs or pugs, or young or old dogs, or those that have got very thick coats. And if you do see a dog that's overheating, there is this thing going around saying that you cannot put them in ice cold water because of the shock, right? And apparently that you might send them into shock if you use ice cold water. No, no, no. Right. Dr. David Marlin, look him up. He's a very, very clever man who deals with thermoregulation in animals. He's dedicated his life to it. He works with animal athletes like racehorses, greyhounds, etc. He basically says the quicker you cool them down, the better. They can't go into shock if they're already in shock because they're suffering from heat stroke, right? Get them into as cold a water as you possibly can, as quickly as you can. Hold their head above water if they are going if they're going to be submerged into their paddling pool or something like that. Pour water on them, pour a hose over them, do anything you can to get that dog cold. And the quickest way to get them cold is with cold water. While you're doing that, ring the vet, right? So the vet will probably tell you not to put ice water on them because that's what they were taught to say. But Dr. David Marlin, as I say, he is an expert, and he will say the exact opposite. Get them as cold as you can, as quickly as you can. When they're suffering from heat stroke is fatal. And the quicker that you act, the quicker you calm that dog down, the better. All right. So yeah, dogs can eat ice. Okay. They can eat frozen things. They can play in cold water, etc., etc. That's not a problem. But just do try and keep them out of the sun. Do not put them in a car that is going, if you're going to leave them. And please, please just be sensible with your dogs. All right. Anyway, I'm going to go because it's very hot here, but this is something I'm really, really passionate about. And, you know, I hope that even if one person's listening and it makes them think again, then it's worth doing a video on. Please tell your friends if you see somebody doing something that they shouldn't be with their dog in this weather, get them to stop. Okay. All right. Catch you all next week. Bye bye.